Welcome to DT Madness, Chronicles from the Third Life, Episode 58, May 6th, 2023. So glad you could make it. I have to lead off with a correction from last week's episode. I attributed the song Stacy's Mom, She's Got It Going On, which was a huge hit at Webstock a few weeks back. I attributed it to Kings of Leon when in fact it is Fountains of Wayne. But really, did you know the difference? Or are they the same band? I don't know. Good tune though. I enjoyed it. I guess out of the gate, I have to admit that I think maybe I'm turning into a middle-aged woman, um, as seen by my reading habits of late. Now, I will say, like, I did have a good conversation with Isaac, as he's a 14-year-old with the raging testosterone and all those kinds of things about what it means to be a man. He's trying to figure out how to control some of the aggression and the rage, and that I told him that tends to be a part of it. You know, it tends to come along with the old testosterone and some pretty good benefits from those types of things in history. Certainly some drawbacks as well, but um, and even a little bit of strutting. You know, a little bit of being a peacock and walking around and letting everybody know. I mean, that's a part of it sometimes, and maybe that's a unpopular opinion, but but it is. But also, it comes along with responsibility, um, and grace. And so, anyway, I just wanted you to know that I'm still teaching my kid about what it means to be a man, even though this whole middle-aged woman thing is kind of rearing up inside of me. I mean, you just by my book choices. It started, it started with Oprah's book club. Really, it started with Marilyn Robinson, who's writing Gilead, the Gilead series. You can look them up. I would start with Gilead if I were you. Are in my top, like they're in the top of my Mount Rushmore, I guess, of books of authors. And so on Marilyn Robinson's um, Facebook page, she recommended Hello Beautiful, which is Ann Napolitano. It was on Oprah's book club list. I got it. It was awesome. I mean, just really, really fantastic. And so I got Dear Edward. I've talked about this before. And then I read the one, I can't remember, the one that was about Flannery O'Connor. And then finally got the one Within Arm's Reach, which was Ann Napolitano's first um, novel, and you can't really find it anywhere to buy it. So we got it through Interlibrary Loan. And just, I don't know if maybe that one wasn't my favorite of all. Just really gripping family drama, but with like this understanding of nuance, this understanding of quirks, of eccentricities, of what it is to live with other people and with yourself. I don't know. I don't know. Makes me laugh. It makes me understand. Makes me wonder, it makes me reconsider, it makes me consider, it makes me cry, um, and long for things. Anyway, that those are the types of things that I enjoy in books. And so now I'm looking for the bestsellers. I'm looking through Oprah's book club list, and the fiction bestsellers that I come upon are they're always highly rated in like female literature or coming of age. I will say that maybe it's um, there's a balance of that too. That probably comes from the Dear Edward book. But one of my good friends loaned me a book, and It was called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I think it's Gabrielle Zavine. I'm not sure. Um, and the book was left in um, my teacher work box, my teacher mailbox on Monday, and I returned it on Wednesday because I couldn't stop reading it. The premise is really interesting, not something I thought I would get into. It's about gaming, which is, and like online gaming type things. And but really, really intriguing and engaging read, identifying with different characters and all that kind of stuff. And now I'm on to, wow, what is it? It's the one, it's about a woman who talks to an octopus. And I've got it right here. I honestly got this one because the cover has blue and orange and purple, and those are my favorite colors that go together. This one is by Shelby Van Pelt, and it is Remarkably Bright Creatures, and it is in the Read with Jenna hashtag Read with Jenna series. And I don't know if that's Jenna Bush. Isn't she on one of those shows? Um, I'm going to take Jenna's word for it and start that one up today as I continue. I mean, nothing wrong with being a middle-aged woman. Don't misunderstand me. I'm enjoying this phase and maybe even thinking of starting maybe a book circle. What do we do there? Do we knit? Um, I don't drink wine, so I'm not sure what to serve there. You guys can help me out. Any middle-aged women out there can help me. Uh, okay, okay. So anyway, one of the books, the Gabrielle Zevin book, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. I don't think this is a spoiler. It really is uh, fun to read and interesting and engaging. But there's this one scene this scene with, I don't know. I'm not trying to spoil it, but I'll just say that there are some gates, and the idea that I took from it is that there's different gates that we go through, these different passageways that we go through life. Here I am in my third life, and how many gates have I gone through along the way? And gates and gates and gates and until you don't, until you don't, and so those types of ideas, they spark consideration and reconsideration in my mind. And so I begin to think about the different roles that I have. And um, so I've been rethinking some of those, like rethinking some of my roles as mayor, Um, and I don't know what you know about Zimbardo's prison study. We just wrapped up AP psychology for the year, but uh, if you read anything about Zimbardo's prison study, you know how impactful, how um, highly impactful role playing is, and that as we settle into new roles, ones that we haven't necessarily been in before, it can begin to define us. And it happened very quickly for the prison guards and the prisoners in the Zimbardo study, but um, as mayor, it's not something that I settled into. I think I'm still settling into it. I'm not quite 2 years into the gig, and so I'm still learning what it means to be a mayor, and I've been kind of playing the role, so to speak, but it feels like I'm kind of settling in to it, still making some mistakes, but overall, there's not really much that I would look to change there. I, a teacher is probably one of my primary roles. I spend a whole bunch of my time doing that, and I'm going to talk more about that in the second half today, so I'll leave that here. My role with clothes, I don't know if this is really fits here. Like I don't I think I own 5 pairs of pants now, which is like way more than I have ever owned in my life. I'm not really a clothes guy, um, but I've got some now so that I can wear and be the mayor. Like part of that is that, and I got some t-shirts, some things like this. I'm not really a shorts guy anymore, so I wear my joggers. I like those. But every so often I will go through and pare down or purge my clothes stacks, and I'm thinking about that, thinking about doing that again. It's a way to simplify. It's a way to, I don't know. It's a way to express what I really want to do, which is to simplify my life, and I do that with clothes sometimes. But my piles are already pretty short stacks, and so there's not a whole bunch I could do with that. And I will say, like, there's this conflict because you know the advertisers got me, and so whatever these t-shirt things are, there was one called History Tees, and it says that history, I'm sorry, it says that English is important, but history is importanter, and I want to get that shirt, and so I flirt with it and put it in my cart, but then I don't buy it because the shipping is $6. And do I really trust this website? Because I'm still waiting on this Grateful Dead turtle thing that I bought from some website like that, a couple years ago from China, and that toilet paper roll that I bought from China that ended up being like, I don't know, 1 inch wide. So I've been burned a couple times buying stuff from Instagrams, but I have this idea of like T-shirt Tuesday. Like I would become the guy that wears the quirky T-shirt with the cool saying, to help people become literate on different cultural references. But I would want 36 T-shirts because I would definitely want a new one every Tuesday. I wouldn't want to repeat. And then how does that play out for the following year? I don't know. So my role with clothes is complicated. The socials, wow. Ugh. This is what reading these books does to me, though. It makes me rethink, and I'm always wrestling with social media. I know that this is one aspect of it, but this doesn't take my time too much. I mean, this takes me, I plan through the week, but that's just journaling. Honestly, it's just remembering and taking a look at what I've searched on Google. It takes me 30, 45 minutes. I'm just a guy with an iPhone and some AirPods, buds, sitting in my nook, and then I'll check through the week to see how many people downloaded it, and um, but that takes me a minute to do. So this one's not that bad. Facebook is not really an issue for me because I know my audience there. I know what it is. Like I know what it is, and that doesn't. I mean, I like to read the comments and I like to reply to the comments kind of as a part of my role as mayor and teacher, and that all kind of wraps up into one there. It's the Instagram, the Be Real. Oh man, the whole post yourself more than once if you post on time. That kind of turned me off to Be Real, and so I don't know about that one, but the Instagram is the one that sucks my life away. Just I get scrolling, and like there's this one video of this little toddler, and he's trying to give the thumbs up, but he puts his pointer fingers up and then he stops and he looks at his hands and he works it out to where he can put his thumbs up, and then he puts his thumbs up in victory. And man, like I look at that and then I just want to look at all those kinds of things. Or chimpanzees, like I enjoy watching those ones, whatever. So I can just scroll through those stupid real type story type things, and just constantly looking to see if somebody's posted a new thing or somebody's commented on my story or anything like this. And I don't know. I just feel like my old teacher, Mr. Kissler, would say that I'm wasting my life away. So we'll see about the old Instagram. I see some of its benefit, but and Sydney sends me tennis reels, and that's fun. So it's a constant struggle. My role with food is, I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good with that. Um, End of the year, I've kind of gotten off my exercise routine a little bit. Although I'm weird because like when I start exercising, I was really going at it for 2 weeks, and then I wasn't losing any pounds. And I'm like, dang. And now that I'm in this part where we've been doing final exams and stuff, and I haven't been exercising, but now I am dropping a couple pounds. I'm like, why am I losing weight now? Because I don't realize that it takes a couple weeks to get that metabolism going when you're 45. But like I did look up and see if liver mush was healthy because I haven't been eating a whole bunch of meat, like even chicken. I had some salmon or salmon the other day, and been a pretty good vegetarian. Eating too many scones and ice cream from Kilwins, but come on, man, you got to live. and the little mini Cokes. I enjoy those. And wow, Dr. Pepper. Okay. I gotta maybe figure out my relationship with reading. I do enjoy it, but like I don't want to start this octopus book and then read it in 3 days, like because that's how I get, because I'm an addictive personality person. And so when I get into it and it's the story, especially when they hook me, if and I haven't looked in this book yet, but like if the chapters, and I know this is for a lot of people, if the chapters are 2 or 3 or 4 pages or maybe even five, and I can look over and be like, oh, okay, I only got to read a little bit more to get to the next chapter, then it's hard for me to put it down. And that's cool. I enjoy that. Like, I appreciate them doing that. I don't really like super long chapters, but I'm going to try to set some time and be like, okay, let's just read for maybe an hour a day and not spend 3 hours or 5 hours, which I will. And then overall, that related to activity, like what are some new things that what are some new things that I want to do? What are some things I want to do with my time when it isn't spending my life away on Instagram or reading for 5 hours or, thinking about all the different types of cool t-shirts that I'm going to get or something like that. One of the things that I'm maybe looking forward to do it is going to hear this guy. I don't know what his first name is. His last name is Eisenstein. Um, my friend Anna Grace, she sent me a link to this guy, and she really enjoys him. I looked him up for a minute. Honestly, it's a philosopher type person, with views on our humanness and such as that. But he's in Black Mountain in a couple of weeks, and so I went ahead and logged on and was going to buy a ticket, and it says suggested $25, but pay whatever you think is fair or whatever you think you can. And the minimum that you can pay is $1. And I had $1 and I was going to check out. And then I felt like, I don't know what I felt like. I felt convicted. I felt guilty. And so I didn't pay 25, but I felt like 10 was where I settled. And so I paid $10. And that was interesting to me to think about. And I almost hope he talks about that at his thing about what types of people would pay anyway. And maybe I'll go. I hope that I'm going to be able to make it up. It's up in Black Mountain. It's about an hour away. Maybe I'll be able to get my friend John Meyer to meet me up there. I've thought about some activities that I used to do and kind of miss. And there's this one called, like, it's putt putt, but there's this place up on the way to Barley's in Forest City, or I don't know what part of that is. It's on up into Rutherford County, and like one time I had to go. I just had to go, and I didn't want to wait, and we were the only people out there, and there was this big bush, and so yeah, I mean, I peed there. And my kids were laughing at me and all this kind of stuff. And now we call it putt and pee. We don't call it putt putt. We call it putt and pee. And it shut down. And it was terrible. Like it was just a terrible, ratty, rugged, ragged course, ratchet course, all the things. But it was like $2, and we would go up there and we would play a little while, and then we would go get some ice cream, or we would go to Barley's or whatever. I do miss that. I miss gardening. I guess I don't miss it enough to actually have to do all of that work. I wish I really just enjoy the picking part, and really just green beans. That was my favorite, is picking the green beans and like pulling up the bushes and pulling off those beans. And I didn't really even like to eat the green beans after. So I don't guess I really miss gardening. That was a fake. I kind of miss playing golf. I'm gonna try to start doing the disc golf some with Sam and Isaac, because I know they play a lot of the time, and that kind of does hurt my elbow. But anyway, um, I used to play golf, and then one time I put my golf bag out in the outbuilding, and the squirrels ate it. Like they ripped all the stuffing and whatever out of it so that they could build their thing. And ever since, and I'll just have some golf clubs out there, but no bag. And I haven't played in like a decade. But anyway, um, but I know what the roles are. Like I know what I'm looking for. Like we play these games, or I play these games like, okay, I'm going to sit here and try to figure it all out. But then, I drive up to Boone. Sydney and I did another impromptu trip up to Boone to eat at McAdoo's. And on the way, there are these flowers. I mean, we stopped on the parkway. Sydney loves driving right along the edge of the mountain. That's her favorite. But there's like these, I think they're mountain magnolias. I looked it up, and that looks like what they are. but magnolias around here, they don't bloom until a couple of more weeks, right around June 9th. And so I don't know, they were blooming early up there, but they were just almost like sparkling, like they were the first things to bloom up in the high country, and that just those giant white flowers were they just sparkled. I don't know how else to describe it. And I really I just loved it so much. Like my kid eats his pasta. He cooks his own stuff. He eats his pasta in a plastic bowl with a straw on it that a little kid would use, but he does it for practical reasons. I know why he does it, because the bowl doesn't get hot. And he pats his pasta down with his hand to make it flat, because when he puts the sauce on it, he doesn't want it to spill over the edge. I mean, it's actually brilliant what he's doing. He understands things, and he does strain his like Olive Garden type sauce out because he doesn't like the little pieces in it. And we laugh at him, and we assure him we're not laughing and making fun of him, because we're not. We just love him so much because we recognize his quirkiness, and we recognize our own quirkiness in him, because we know each other, and we're all like that in some ways. And it's that type of it's that type of day-to-day stuff. I was driving down to the river the other day, and there was a state trooper in my town, and I wish our whatever, but he was pulling somebody over, and so I was thinking about that and all that kind of stuff. And then as I turn around the corner, there's this field, and whatever's growing in there is like a foot high, a couple feet high, totally green. And the wind was blowing it, and it was like the waves of grain, but it's green. It's not amber at this time, and that always takes me back, like, to now. And I know that that's the state that I want to be in. I do want to figure out how to be zen when I'm in my thoughts, like when I'm thinking, because I do think, and I am in my thoughts, and that is a part of my existence. And so I don't think it's just completely removing myself from my thoughts all the time. I don't think that's possible, to completely eliminate my inner voice, or even desirable. And I don't think that anybody says that it is, but how do I how do I be in the moment, even when I'm planning, even when I'm considering and reconsidering? Anyway, well, we got a good halftime for you today. I will say that as mayor, I got this. We applied for this rural transformation grant, and we're trying to build like a new courtyard area with outdoor seating, and it's the place where we have our music on Main concerts. And it's a revitalization of downtown. But we're a small town with a small budget, and a university that eats up a bunch of our property and doesn't pay property taxes. And so we just can't pay for this on our own. And so we apply for all these different types of grants, and one of them is a rural transformation grant. And we voted to approve the grant application at council on Tuesday, and I was sitting on the rock on Wednesday, and it was kind of a little bit of tension in the vote and whatever, because we're shutting off some parking spots and whatever. People, but it passed, and everybody understands. And so I'm sitting down on my rock, like with my eyes closed, in like mini meditation. I've been struggling with that the last couple days, maybe the last week, and my watch buzzed, and um so I looked at it, and the email was popping up, and it was from our North Carolina fellow, Grayson, who's amazing. And he says, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Longino, who's the town manager, we got the grant. And I'm like, oh man. So I hop up off the rock, say goodbye to the turtles real fast. I mean, I'm booking it. I'm walking as fast as I can. I'm texting Justin Longino along the way. Oh man, just saw the news. I'm headed back to town hall right now. And a little party hat emoji. And I sent it right in the little spot where I get reception down at the river. And I'm walking so fast. I mean, I'm sweating. I get to the car, Driving back, this all takes about 10 minutes. And then once I get up the hill, right to where I can check the full email, I'm at a stopped place. And so I check my email and read the whole thing so that I can be prepared, so that I know what I'm talking about when I go in and talk to the people. And it says, we got the grant submitted and it will be under review. And I was like, oh man, I got all excited and thought that we got the grant. So I was definitely faked out on that. I went into town hall and sat down. They were having they were actually in the conference room, and I told them about my whole situation, and they got a good laugh at me. What people say, the kids these days, like, what's good? What's good, Mr. Thomas? They'll say that, and so I begin to tell them what's good. And when I answer that question now, I tell them that, hey, I stop them and I say, you want me to tell you what's good? And I tell them that I ordered a push lawnmower, a Craftsman, from Amazon, off Amazon, and and they delivered it. And that when they delivered it, and I opened up the box, it was already put together. Like it was already put together. All I had to do was unscrew a couple things and screw a couple things back in, and then like pull the handle up, and then and it came with its own little sack of oil that you put in. I didn't even have to go buy some. I didn't have to mix it together. I just put it right in there. Oh man! And I tell them that's what's good, and that's happened twice now. And for the rest of the school year, if anybody asks me what's good, then that's what I'm going to tell 'em. Oh man, this is weird. I don't know if I should say this one or not, but I keep this bottle of pills in my drawer, and I don't want to take too many of them, and so I don't take them very often. And I've had I went to college. You know what I'm saying? Like I go to Fish concerts and Widespread Panic concerts, and I listen to the Grateful Dead and stuff like that. So and like, do y'all talk to yourself in the mirror? Do you look at yourself and talk to yourself in the mirror, like have this conversation, like the person in the mirror isn't really, I don't know, quite you? I don't know. TT Madness alert. But um, I was feeling rough yesterday. I woke up with a migraine. It was just a super long week. I didn't sleep great. Slept great last night, so I'm feeling pretty good this morning. Um, and I pulled the bottle of pills out. It was right around supper time. And I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, I'm gonna hit one up, bro. Said it just like that. Like maybe I was about to go to the Fish concert or something. It's vitamin D, y'all. Like it's a vitamin D pill. But I hit it up. I did. Maybe that's why I feel better today. It's probable. Last thing in halftime is we watched the tennis channel, and there's I believe she's German. I cannot remember her name now, but she's a former tennis player, and she comments on the matches, and she's a great commentator. Like she really does offer good insight into the matches, and it isn't annoying or anything. And the other person, like the play-by-play type guy, was asking her which person's serve was better, overall, or this type of thing. And the female commentator, she says, "Well, you know, if I had a pistol to my breast, then I would say." And Sydney and I were just like, "What?" Because I've kind of heard like if you had a gun to my head, I would have to make this decision, but what's going on in Germany? Like, I'm not sure. Pistol to my breast. I haven't heard that one, but if anybody understands that reference, let me know. Nope, I almost hit the wrong button there. Just ending halftime. See, just a guy with an iPhone, a Podbean app, in his Nook. No big deal. I talked about my teacher role, and this is the type of year. This is the time of year. AP exams are over. Sydney had AP government and politics on Monday. She had AP psychology on Tuesday. She had AP stats on Thursday, and she did AP US history on Friday. We calculated it at about 18 hours of exam time this week. And so she is wiped out, but done, like done with the school year. There's a couple weeks left, but those were her exams. Sam, I think, finished up his exams last night as well. So, so this is the time to begin to reflect, and one of the things that I've got to try to figure out going forward is when I have a class full of 25-ish, then there's such a variety of pace and ability And like, what do I do with the students who finish the work early and it's good work, but everybody else, I know that there are students who just delay on purpose, and some of them have gotten really good at that. But I can recognize those. But there are students that need more time. They need extra time. And so I've got to figure out how to create the practice that we do in class to fit both levels or multiple levels of pace and ability. I mean, it's called differentiated instruction. It's something that every teacher learns about, but I don't know that many teachers fully know how to actually implement. I want to make them write more, which makes, I want to have them make claims. AI is a real thing. Like the information that they need to learn, the information that they need to memorize is increasingly limited, is increasingly diminishing. Like information is available to us and to them. And so, how to deal with the information, how to synthesize, analyze, recognize, all that type of stuff. Um, I continue to figure out how I'm going to use grades and different levels of accountability. I always struggle with that one. And then, I wish that we didn't, but we do teach on a block schedule and it's a 90-minute class time. And that's just too long. It's too long. 90 minutes is too long. And, I wish that we had year-long classes. I wish that every class was about 50 minutes, and that would be amazing. I know teachers are opposed to that, and perhaps students would be opposed to it having to be stuck with me all year long. And I know that some teachers don't want to be stuck with the same students all year long. To me, I say, suck it up. You're a teacher. This is your job. Also, it's 50 minutes. You should be able to do that. 90 minutes is too much, but I got to figure out how to break up the block and to chunk it all up, and so that it doesn't feel like 90 minutes. But again, let's revert back to number one with all the different levels of pace and ability. That just becomes a very tricky puzzle. Um, but we wrapped up with psychology and AP government, and I've looked at the free response questions that are released, and I feel good. I feel good about what we did. I know that the students were um, prepared, and how the rubrics will shake out and whether or not they're super, you know, um, picky about what students have to write. I don't know how all that will shake out. And I really hope that they get what they have earned. I hope they get passing scores because they did earn it. But we'll see in July with all that. Um, I just, I know that my kids in those classes, and I think in all of my classes, understand that I'm for them. And so because they understand that, then it's definitely been a successful a successful year. Well, this has been a Church of Six production, brought to you by the Token of Hope, brought to you by the Magic Rock times two, the Bucket of Life, the Wall of Belief, and the Foundation Tower of Stone. Nothing divine is desperate, and in fact, in all circumstances, may all circumstances serve to awaken compassion. And as you go, teach peace. Don't forget to believe, y'all, and be live. Peace, my friends.